everyone, Cornelia from Piping Petals. Welcome to my online tutorial for piping a buttercream Gerbera daisy. In this tutorial, I'll demonstrate a technique and discuss the equipment you'll need to pipe an American buttercream daisy on a cupcake. If you would like to know how to prepare the colors used or how to fill your piping bags with multicolored effects, please refer to my Working with Colors online tutorial. Let's get started. So with the Gerbera daisy, we're going to use mainly the Wilton 104. I'm then also going to use the Wilton 233 and the Wilton 81. But when we get to that stage, I'll explain to you what you can do differently if you don't have those nozzles, because you can get away with just the 104. So with your wide end of your nozzle against your cupcake, roughly in the center, just slightly off center, we're going to go outwards towards the edge of your cupcake case in a round circular motion and back to create a long, thin petal. As I come back down with a petal, I'm going to lift my nozzle in a slightly vertical position to create a nice edge. So you can see I'm creating an edge there with the petal, which gives me a nice space to put my nozzle in for the next petal. So the next petal is almost going underneath the previous one, like that. And we continue with nice, long, thin petals all around the cupcake. So make the length of your petal to just go over the edge of your cupcake case, basically hiding your case. But you don't want it to stick over too far, because if this cupcake is going into a bouquet, the flowers next to it might squash the petals. So you'll see by doing this we are leaving a space in the middle. It's not completely covered. That's fine. We're going to do the center of the flower now in that center space. Last one, you can see it's a little bit, the last one's always the most difficult. Just get your nozzle into that space and just finish it off. So that's your petals. We're now moving to a Wilton 233, also known as your grass nozzle. And we're going to make the center stamen for your daisy. If you don't have this nozzle, a really useful trick to get thin grass-like stamen that you want for the center of your flower is to use a normal piping bag, put your green buttercream in there and snip off just a tiny edge of the tip of your piping bag, and that will give you a singular hole from which you can pipe your stamen. The only downside of that is you piping one stamen at a time. Whereas with this nozzle, you can pipe multiple stamen in one go. So I like to squeeze quite a lot, just move my cupcake around a little bit to fill the space with green and lift off. Don't be afraid to do it again, just to get your stamen to stand up nice and high. We need a little bit more on this side. There we go. So you could already at this point stop, because that is a beautiful flower in itself. And as I said, you could have done the center with just a normal piping bag, snipping the end off. But a Gerbera daisy does have actually a little bit of extra detail around it. So if you do happen to have the speciality nozzle, the Wilton 81, that's what we're going to use for adding a little bit of extra detail around the center. So the Wilton 81 looks like a little smile. It is a really tiny, very thin nozzle, and you want to keep the position of the nozzle with the curve of your smile against the cupcake. So we're going to start in a vertical position and squeeze and just bring it up. So it creates a flat petal like that. We're going to continue just going around the green stamen, making short petals with the Wilton 81. Just building a little wall for them around the center. Then we're going to continue again, pull them a little bit upright where they were lying flat before. You're now actually piping onto the long petals that we laid down on top of the cupcake. And then one last round, very short and angling outwards. I'm being just careful where I place my nozzle so that you don't want to mess up your daisy petals now. Okay, so there we have a beautiful Gerbera daisy. As I mentioned, you can leave the Wilton 81 detail out if you don't have that nozzle, but it does add a really nice detail to your flower. I hope you've enjoyed this tutorial. You can also subscribe to my Blooming Bakes YouTube channel for complimentary videos on how to make the best American buttercream for piping flowers, as well as cupcake recipes and lots more. See you soon.